Hi, I'm Rosalind. Welcome to my channel. So, if you watched the previous video that I did, it was about Bringers of the Dawn, a book that I'm reading. I decided that I'm gonna do like a series type of thing, like episode 1, 2, 3, etc. Kind of little segments of the book. So for those of you that are in the beginning stages of your spiritual awakening, this might be a little bit easier to comprehend, right? Because when you go through your spiritual awakening process, people go through it in different ways. Okay, like I didn't have like a Kundalini awakening. I don't channel anyone. I haven't had like a spirit come visit me or anything. So basically I've done just a lot of my own studies, my own research, and whatever resonates with me, I feel it. Like there's some things I hear, I'm like, okay, I don't think so. And then there's some things that I'm like, oh, that makes so much sense. Okay, so this is going to be, I'm going to say episode 2. Let's name it episode 2 of Bringers of the Dawn. For people who are really advanced in their spiritual awakening, this is not going to be for you, obviously. I think once you are already far along in your process, you've already kind of formed your own beliefs and your own thoughts on, what the truth is. Okay, so I would say I've been going through my spiritual awakening for years now, but I'm like barely now kind of like putting things together. Okay, so let's go back to the book, Bringers of the Dawn. It states that if you're reading the book, you are a member of the family of light. Okay, well, anybody can read the book. And so let's say if I read it 5 years ago, it wouldn't have resonated with me really. Okay, I'm rereading it again, so I'm like, okay, now I really connect with it. So what does it mean to be a part of the family of light? Okay, so if you want to back up, right, you hear a lot of spiritual gurus or just people who have gone through their awakening. They talk about who you really are. So from what I've gathered from all the videos and books I've read, and I do believe it myself, that we are spiritual beings living a temporary human experience. Okay, like I'm pretty sure that we don't die after this life, right? Let's say I pass on, right? My body is, no longer exists, but my soul continues to go on. So therefore, I do believe in reincarnation because our soul never dies, right? And we continue to evolve. Like there has to be some sort of purpose why we're here. Like we didn't just magically, well, we kind of did magically appear, but there was a plan. Like this is all like a game sort of, even though it's not really a fun game for a lot of people, but it's in some resemblance like a game. Being a starseed, a light worker, way showers, whatever, it kind of all means the same thing to me, that we came down to earth to fulfill a mission and an assignment. So in the first few chapters of Bringers of the Dawn, it talks about why you're here and that you chose to come down here. So that means I chose to come down from wherever I was, and I'm assuming wherever I was like this magical just energy, right? I wasn't a person, and I had all these abilities, right, to probably astral travel. I probably could have manifested things in like an instant kind of thing, like just so different. And they say that Earth is one of the hardest planets to be on, which I'm pretty sure that's true, because We live in a 3D paradigm, and we have for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. But the book was written in the 90s, so I'm thinking in the 90s you had the wave of hippies, right? The ones like got high, smoked weed, LSD, and the whole hippie or peace, love, happiness. I believe that during that time, those were the first waves of light workers trying to spread the message. And I remember when I was younger watching like Star Wars, right? And I had a neighbor who was really into it. I was like, this is so weird, right? But she was in that first wave of star seeds where she was spiritually awakened, right? And people thought she was crazy. I thought she was kind of like, this is weird. But I think that's what happens. So when you go through your spiritual awakening, like, you think differently. You see life more than just this life on this plane. Like, you start to really believe, like, wow, I am really a spiritual being down here playing this game called life as human beings. So I think right now we're going through like a second wave of people. A lot of people are just shifting, right? Their thought process, their subconscious, right? Like, there's more to them than what they've been taught. I mean, look at everything that's going on right now. There are a lot of people who are really interested in astrology and esoteric studies now. Like, there's a lot of people. I had an astrologer say, like, where are all the light workers at? He thinks they all disappeared, kind of thing. And he referenced it to astrologers, which is true. A lot of the astrologers I follow have kind of disappeared as of late. But I believe that there are more light workers surfacing. Just because you're not into astrology doesn't mean you're not a light worker. Astrology is a tool, and it's a form of spirituality. But I think being spiritual just means that you kind of, like, that you're like, there's more to life, kind of thing, right? So anyways, so right now there's a wave of light workers waking up. Okay, the book talks about light codes and your DNA and filaments, right? And helixes. Like, we have our chakras, or 7 chakras, right? And then we have I believe 5 outer chakras. So once we are aligned with our inner chakras, then we start to work with our outer chakras. And I think, for me, I'm still working on some of my inner ones. I think there are some blockages there. So I started really getting into crystals, and I'm learning a lot about crystals, and I ordered a few different crystals recently, and I'm gonna try to do a lot of meditation, a lot of manifesting, right? Things that I want, and setting my intentions in crystals, like during the new moon, full moon, things like that. But once you start to kind of think outside of the box, then a whole bunch of doors open, and there's a lot of information out there. So you don't really know what's true and what's not true. So I think it's really important to be discerning, right? To really listen to your own intuition, okay? What feels right with you. And it's totally okay to change your mind. You can believe one thing one day and next week believe something else. So if you are going through your beginning stages right now of spiritual awakening, are you feeling different? Do you feel like you have nothing in common with anyone anymore, that's one of the big things I ended up having to go through, right? I went into a introspective time, like extreme. So if you feel like you don't have anything in common with your friends anymore, like you guys don't have anything to talk about, family members, I mean, even with your significant other, you know, although, you know, I've been single for a really, really long time, and I really think that, in my opinion, to really go through an awakening, you have to kind of be alone. I mean, not everybody, I'm assuming not everybody is, you know, single and going through a spiritual awakening, but I really think that does help the process, right? When you are single and you're just left by yourself, like you don't really hang out anymore, you don't really talk on the phone, you're not socializing like you used to, you're on YouTube looking for videos on spiritual awakening, you're reading books, you're getting into like things that people consider weird, even crystals, holistic healing, which I really believe that is going to be like a really big wave that's going to be coming our way, right? Pharmaceutical companies, like, no, not all of it's dark, but I think a lot of it is dark, and that is going to crumble. People are going to start to realize, like, our minds can heal us, like our thoughts and how we think, what we believe, they can alter, like our DNA, they can alter our cells. And natural remedies, like, let's say, like marijuana, you know, it does things that people on ADD, I mean, they're used to popping pills, and I know so many people who started smoking marijuana, and they no longer need the drug. But anyways, I'm not like a weed smoker, but my point is the holistic healing, it's growing, and it's going to be something that a lot of light workers are going to be getting into. You know, I was even thinking about it, like, you know, learning remedies and natural herbs. Anyways, so back to the book. So the first, like I said, the first few chapters, yeah, I think it's really important to kind of reread a few times just to kind of really connect with it and try to understand what they're saying. You know, it may be really hard for some people to like comprehend that this is a game, like this life that we're in, we're here just on a mission, that we're not really from here. This is not where we originated from. Meditate. Also really important to meditate. I'd say do. So I have this pen and I accidentally pressed it. I'm gonna have to figure out how to intertwine this. Like, I'm new with the whole video thing and the whole video editing, so it's gonna be a little bit of a challenge. But anyways, back to meditating. People say do it for 5-10 minutes. I guess you can try to do that, but I do recommend doing it for like 30 minutes at least. You know what I mean? Like, the first 10 minutes is going to be all chatter, and the point is to eventually be able to just clear your mind. So I do recommend meditating. I think it's a great tool, okay, when it comes to your spiritual awakening. But I wanted to read something from the book, okay, Bringers of the Dawn. This is going to be in chapter 2, okay, kind of it'll reference back to what I mean by this is kind of like a game for us. Okay. On Prime Creator's journey. Humanity is an experiment. Humanity has been designed, as has just about everything else that exists within creation. Prime Creator began experimenting with creation a long time ago in this universe for the purpose of greater exploration, self-gratification, and self-expression. Prime Creator brought energies and essences of life, extensions of itself, into this universe and endowed those extensions with gifts that it had. It gave willingly and freely of its capabilities. There are many other universes and many other ways of designing universes. This universe, our other universes are, and many other ways of designing. Oh my goodness. Let's start over. It willingly and freely of its capabilities. There are many other universes and many other ways of designing universes. This particular one was designed as a free will zone, which all would be allowed. Okay, so Prime Creator, God, right? You know, basically wanted to experiment, because there's other universes, right? Other galactic places, right? Star Wars, you know how they do their jumping thing, whatever they do when they jump into other galaxies. So that's what it's basically saying, and that we're all extension. We're all an extension of Prime Creator. Okay, so I don't know whatever you want to believe. I believe that the truth is we are an extension of God. All of us are. Okay. And the purpose to create us was to experiment, right? And some of us might be thinking like, what the freak? Like, life is not easy. So what is the purpose of all this pain, all this suffering? It's really hard to get past. It took me a while to get past that too. I had to really think about it. Like, what is the purpose? It's not fair. Life is not fair for a lot of people. But I think once you start realizing like there's more to life than just your day-to-day living, more than your environment, there's so much more going on. Maybe you might start to resonate with it, you know, that there is a purpose for the bad things that happen, right? Because if there were no bad things, there would be no good things that happen. There would be no contrast, therefore there would be no point, because we're here to evolve, right? To become like basically, I'm not going to say magnificent beings, but to remember our power. That's what we're here for. We're here to remember who we are, right? And take control of our own life. And once we do, as stated in this book, it helps our future selves in different timelines and other galaxies and planets. Like, when we ascend to a higher level, the frequency just goes up a notch, and it goes up even more for other planets, galaxies, me in another timeline. So yeah, it's a lot to kind of really take in. So just think about it, right? Again, be discerning, keep doing your research. But the fact that you're on this path, you've been watching videos about astrology and spiritual awakenings and reading books like this, you're starting. You definitely are a part of, you know, the family of light, star seeds, whatever. You're yeah. But anyways, so this is gonna be episode 1, and hopefully the more I get on, the better I will be at explaining. I know I'm kind of all over the place, but thank you so much if you stayed watching me for this long. And I hope to see you guys again real soon. And so thanks, take care.